As you look out for the next 5 years, especially for the company, I mean, we're expanding rapidly. Very exciting potential in the development pipelines, and I think for us especially is the building of a lot of the capabilities, and interestingly, to build those capabilities within the USA, and it's to actually put down and utilize some of the talents that we have in the US. Is to actually build basically in the 200 litre, 2,000 litre spaces, and for us it's to bring through approximately 26 molecules over those 5 years, up through hopefully many through phase 3. So for us it's very much an expansion, and it's going to be an exciting time. Although Celgene, we've got our first products at the moment into phase 3. Although we've got a name that sounds like a biotech, they'll be our first biotech products. But it's particularly exciting in areas around things like CAR-T, the chimeric antigen receptors, and the challenges around those, because from absolutely meeting an unmet patient need for people on fourth line of oncology therapies, this is really a breakthrough and something our whole industry should be proud of. I think for us, our organisation is really about bringing people together. It's to get the right skill sets in the right places, and it's to understand that we're going to have to invest at risk. There are critical therapies and critical patient needs, and the cost to bring these to market, I mean, you could easily say in a company our size is 7,000 people. To bring CAR-Ts through to market is going to require an extra 1,000 people. And so that's a real challenge, because there won't be any income certainly in the short term. But from the right thing to do, and if you're in the oncology space and you own some of the prior treatments and then they become refractory, and then a commitment is to offer these complex treatments, but they're actually obviously life-changing. But I think it's going to be around, there's many people, they've got to be of the right skill sets. So it's going to be recruiting, and I think it really will be, I hate the word war for talent, but everybody is counting on the same people, because many of the companies are in the same phase of build for many of the biologics plants. And by some accounts, the requirement is for an extra 35,000 people to work in the biologic supply chains, and 7,000 of those are highly qualified engineers. Some of them are still literally at school, and when they're coming through, all of the companies are betting on those individuals joining their company. And at the moment, I still see that market is actually becoming, although it's soft, it's becoming a lot harder, and people are very picky where they work. They want to work in the right areas. They want to be in beautiful places like San Diego, Boston, etc., etc. That's a challenge, and they're also looking for companies today that really, they do not want to work. If you're interviewing people, they've got a few Me Too drugs. They're looking to expand into, for example, maybe some biosimilar work. They really would like to work, the new engineers coming through and scientists. They really want to work very ethically motivated people, and they want to work in places that will make a difference and going to invest in the future. So I think the challenge is to try to get those people to where we need them, to where, we operate in New Jersey. We also operate, for the record, in Boston and Massachusetts and San Diego, but our pilot plants are going to be in the New Jersey space. So New Jersey once was a great center for development and manufacture, and maybe in the next 5 years, that's that a lot of that can be rekindled. Our innovation, our primary innovation will come through from the primary side comes through from the way we partner with alliances. Many of our products come through these hotbeds basically in the San Diego, the Boston, the Massachusetts areas, but also in other parts of Europe where we've got alliance partnerships. We tend to bring in a lot of phase 1 molecules. We tend to have exclusive agreements with developing those, and we plant a lot of seed money, etc. So for us, the innovation side is on the medical side, is really in the oncology space, and it's really with these early development partners. They're great to work with, and it's interesting, we've signed up a number of these partners who have really got the owners of these companies, that it isn't just all about the money. They're looking for the business partner to take them forward, who from an ethical standpoint can get their product to market quicker, because they often look at, those alliance leaders in the other companies, they look upon it as their baby, and they're looking to see who can actually bring the product to patients quicker. It's not just about the IPO. So that's, having met some of that very philanthropic ownership direction is very real. And we've signed up with a number of companies where perhaps we weren't the highest bidders for certain molecules, but we were the ones that could reflect the patient interest that those people on the other side of the alliance was really looking for. Because some of the gene therapy products and some of the even in the solid dosage gene therapy side, is they really make a difference to patients, and the owners, if you like, of that IP really look to partner with partners of choice. And we've gone, not myself personally, but I know the company I work for is repeatedly been voted as the partner of choice for development companies to link into. So hopefully we can maintain that, and it really is. One of the ex-CEOs of Celgene, Salbero, always used to have a great phrase. He said, doing good by doing good. And if you can bring products to patients, everything else will look after itself. But keep the primary focus, and then the follow-on will be there. Through what my talk is the heavy investment required on the quality systems, the quality techniques, the QC analysis techniques for these advanced products. And some of them will be contracted out at different contractors, third-party CMOs. But from a quality standpoint, the focus has never been higher on compliance, data integrity, and really the fundamentals. And if we don't get those in place, then everything else is for naught. And rightfully so, it's a tough regulatory environment, and it should be. And I think what we need to do in the company I certainly work for, we have a lot of support into the quality organization. It's highly valued. And it's a way, one of the things to really address that is, over the last 3 or 4 years, we've, in our biologic spaces, different spaces where we're expanding, is we've deliberately recruited not your old quality type persons, but we've tended to bring in scientists, engineers with quality attributes, and then bring them into the organizations and develop. Because as the science moves on, you really need the quality people to move on and the regulatory affairs people to move on, so that they're true business partners. But at the end of the day, they have to observe a line that says, hey, is this safe to give to patients? And that's a quality issue. And B, is it a compliant process from a regulator standpoint? You've got to answer both of those. And so we've had a real drive to recruit experienced people from other biotech companies. We've recruited many PhDs, MSCs into the quality organization, recognizing that there's a shift in the paradigm. And you don't really want to, the last thing you want now is the box checker. You want someone who can really think through and actually be a business partner with our manufacturing and certainly our development colleagues, because in a lot of these development portfolios, there's a lot of risk, but you've got to be calculating and say, if you put the patient first and you're in a compliant mode, and is it phase appropriate, the compliance and quality you're applying, and how do you get from that up into a commercial operation with the right skill sets. This is my second time. So the first time I came with a colleague from Celgene, we didn't know quite so many people, as we're not big biotech. We knew a few. But I particularly like the fact that you've got some very strong plenary speakers that actually give a very strong business overview, particularly like folks from Kite and also AstraZeneca. They give a perfect overview of how the industry is moving. I think that's really valuable. I think some of the takeaways are, the capital costs, the inventory costs, the people and talent costs are common to all of us. And so I like to take that away, because I can, if you're talking internally within a company, it's good to be able to put it in a perspective of other companies. Otherwise, it sounds like you're just whining, but it's very real. So I think that's good. I think 2 is the fact that you organize plenty of time in the middle of the days. So if you need to catch up with colleagues or you need to meet with different people, that works very well. And I think the organisation here, I'm not just saying it because it's you, Mark, I think it really is good because it's focused on getting people to interact, getting people to be on message. And I know there's a lot of work goes in ahead of the conference because you speak to people like me and you try to figure out what they're going to say and what does the audience want to hear. So I think it's very timely, the information's good, and so from a Celgene perspective, if you're coming here, you can genuinely come to learn something and listen to different perspectives, because many people will put on slides certain amounts of information, but it's the dialogue that really they're going to add in the editorial. I think that's the best piece of the conference.